You ever just walk into a room filled with plants and instantly feel calmer? Like your brain just took a deep breath? There's something about greenery that hits different, especially when life feels noisy, stressful, and straight up overwhelming. And yeah, science backs it up. Certain houseplants don't just look pretty, they can actually boost your mood, reduce anxiety, and even help you sleep better. In this video, we're diving into 13 houseplants that might just be what your mind needs right now. No therapy appointment required. So if you're looking to turn your space into a little mental health sanctuary, stick around. Let's get into it. There's this moment when jasmine starts to bloom and the scent just quietly drifts through the room, like it knows exactly how to calm you down. You lean in for a breath, and suddenly the stress you've been carrying all day feels a little lighter. It sits by your desk while you work, not saying a word, but somehow making the whole vibe less chaotic. The flowers catch the sunlight in this soft, almost magical way, like they're built to be peaceful. At night, it's there by your bed, gently reminding your brain it's okay to rest. Sleep doesn't feel like a battle anymore, it just comes. You think back to how tense you felt earlier, and now the contrast is almost funny. The next morning, you find yourself journaling beside it, actually smiling without trying. The room feels still in the best possible way. And somehow, in the middle of all that stillness, jasmine is quietly doing its thing, helping you hold it together. It just stands there tall, sharp, and kind of unbothered by everything, like the strong, silent type of the plant world. You walk past it in the morning, half asleep, and there it is, doing its job, cleaning the air like it's no big deal. It sits in the corner, low maintenance, and proud, like it knows you've got enough on your plate already. You catch a moment in the middle of the day where everything feels like too much, but then you glance over and it's still there solid, steady, not asking for anything. Even in low light, it holds its own. No drama, no fuss. You find yourself watering it once every few weeks and somehow feeling like you've got your life together. There's comfort in its toughness, in the way it survives and thrives no matter what. It's like a reminder that you're allowed to be still, to breathe, and to keep standing, even when things are heavy. And that kind of quiet strength, it's weirdly therapeutic. There's something about a spider plant that just feels alive. It doesn't just sit in the background. It spills out, moves, multiplies. You notice those little baby shoots hanging down like it's trying to grow a family right in your kitchen. It's one of those plants that actually feels cheerful, like it brings its own kind of energy to the space. You walk in feeling drained, but the way it stretches and curls like it's mid-dance, somehow it lifts your mood. It's forgiving to miss a watering or two and it still bounces back, like it believes in you even when you're slacking. You set it near a window and it responds instantly. Greener, fuller, just happy. There's something calming about trimming it, giving it care, watching it thrive. It turns your shelf or hanging pot into a little mental health break. You don't expect it to do much, but it does. Quietly, steadily, helping the space and you feel more alive. You brush your fingers through it and instantly that earthy, crisp scent hits like a reset button for your brain. Rosemary doesn't just sit pretty, it's like a little herbal reminder to stay present. It's growing by the kitchen window, soaking up the sun like it's on vacation, while you're just trying to hold it together. There's something strangely calming about plucking a sprig, like you're part of something slow and intentional. You find yourself tossing it into tea or dinner, and suddenly the day feels a little more grounded. Even just smelling it while cooking shifts your mood. It clears the mental fog like it's sweeping out stress. On anxious days, you sit beside it with your coffee and feel like maybe, just maybe, you're doing okay. The leaves are strong, a little wild, but not chaotic. It's a quiet companion with this steady, grounding energy. And for something so simple, it has this way of making your head and your space feel lighter. It starts small, just a few little vines, but give it time, and it begins to trail, climb, reach like it's trying to explore the room with you. English ivy doesn't try to steal the spotlight, but it's always there, softening sharp corners, wrapping around shelves like it's making the space feel safe. You catch yourself watching it on slow days, the way it grows almost sneakily, but with purpose. It's one of those plants that remind you progress doesn't need to be loud. Even when you feel stuck, it keeps moving gently, steadily. You breathe a little easier knowing it's cleaning the air while you're just sitting there trying to make it through the day. On the windowsill or hanging in the corner, it adds this touch of calm you didn't even know you needed. Trimming it becomes a little ritual, something small you can control. And when the world feels messy, English ivy has this way of making everything seem just a little more in order. There's this softness to a peace lily that just changes the room. It doesn't shout for attention. It just quietly thrives. You walk past it and catch the curve of a white bloom opening like it's exhaling. Even when your thoughts are racing, that little flower stands there calm, like it's inviting you to slow down. It lives well in those low-light corners where other plants struggle, almost like it's made for the days when your energy's low. You notice the leaves droop when it's thirsty, but then you water it, and it perks back up within hours like it's showing you how to bounce back too. You find yourself drawn to it without even realizing, like it carries this stillness you want to be near. Sometimes you sit with it beside you. No music, no noise, just quiet and green. It doesn't ask much, but somehow gives a lot. It makes your space feel like a breath of fresh air. And on the hard days, that little sign of peace is more than just a name, it's exactly what you need. There's something instantly cheerful about those round, coin-like leaves, like the plant version of a smile. The Chinese money plant has this playful energy, just kind of hanging out on your windowsill like it's always in a good mood. You catch yourself reaching out to spin a leaf without thinking, and it feels oddly calming. It grows in this balanced, symmetrical way that brings a little order to your space, especially when everything else feels out of control. You notice how easily it bounces back after being moved or repotted, like it's built for change. On slow mornings, you sip your coffee next to it and somehow feel a little more awake, a little more hopeful. You start looking forward to seeing new little shoots pop out from the base, like tiny green winds that remind you growth is happening, even if it's small. It doesn't just sit pretty, it brings this lightness, this ease without making a big deal about it. And in a world that's always rushing, that kind of quiet joy really sticks with you. There's something about a moth orchid that just stops you. Those delicate blooms float like little paper butterflies, soft but confident. You walk into the room, and it's the first thing your eyes land on, not because it's loud, but because it's so still and graceful. It doesn't bloom all the time, but when it does, it feels like a quiet celebration. Even during its bare phases, the plant holds this calm patience, like it knows beauty always comes back. You check on it, water it gently, and somehow that tiny act feels grounding. On days when you're drained, just sitting near it shifts something in you to remind you that calm can be powerful. Its structure is simple, yet elegant, and being around it feels like walking into a room where everything's been cleaned and the light hits just right. It invites you to breathe slower, sit longer, think less. And when life feels messy, the orchid stays poised, like a silent little guide back to balance. It's got this quiet strength to it, the broad, fan-like leaves reaching out in all directions, like it's creating a little shield from the world. The broadleaf lady palm doesn't demand attention, but it brings this solid, grounded energy into the room. You walk in after a long day, and just seeing it there makes the space feel calmer, more stable. It's one of those plants that feels like it's been around forever, steady, reliable, always green. The way it filters light and shadows across the floor adds this subtle, peaceful rhythm to the space. You find yourself drawn to it when your mind's busy, like standing next to it slows your thoughts down. It thrives in corners, quietly working to clean the air without ever making a fuss. Even trimming the edges feels like a small act of mindfulness. And in a world that pushes you to go faster, this plant is a gentle reminder to just be still for a minute. It just sits there, thick and sturdy, like it knows exactly what it's here for. No fluff, no drama. Aloe Vera has this kind of tough love vibe, the kind that says, "I got you," without saying anything at all. You snap off a leaf, and inside is this cool, healing gel that feels like instant relief, whether it's a burn or just a rough day. It's the kind of plant that reminds you nature actually wants to help you. You pass by it in the morning, and there's comfort in knowing it's both useful and alive, quietly thriving on very little. You water it sparingly, and it's totally fine and resilient, no complaints. On stressful nights, you run your fingers along its edges and feel that sharp texture, solid and real, like something to hold on to. There's something grounding about having a plant that's been used for healing for generations. It makes the space feel honest, uncomplicated. And somehow, just having it nearby reminds you to take care of yourself too. There's this wild, feathery softness to a Boston fern that instantly makes the room feel more alive. You walk past it, and those delicate green fronds seem to move just slightly, like the plant's breathing with you. It's got this full, flowing shape that fills out empty corners in the best way, kind of like nature's version of a warm blanket. You catch yourself running your fingers through it without thinking, and there's something oddly relaxing about that light, airy texture. When the room's stuffy or dry, it quietly adds moisture back into the air, helping you breathe a little easier literally and mentally. You start noticing how much calmer the space feels when it's around, like a soft visual anchor. It needs a bit more care than other plants, but that's part of what makes it feel special, like a gentle reminder to slow down and pay attention. You find yourself misting it while the world rushes outside, and in that moment, everything feels a little softer. It's not flashy, but the comfort it brings sneaks up on you in the best way. It's the kind of plant that feels like a bold little surprise every time you see it, those bright red, heart-shaped blooms popping against deep green leaves like it's celebrating something. The flamingo flower doesn't blend in, and honestly, that's kind of the point. You walk into the room and there it is, like a quiet burst of joy in the corner. Even on heavy days, it brings this vibrant energy that feels contagious. You notice how glossy and strong the leaves are, like the whole plant's built with confidence. It doesn't ask for much, just steady care and a little lightened. In return, it keeps showing up with color. You catch yourself smiling at it for no reason, like its presence alone shifts your mood. Watering, it becomes this small, satisfying task that feels like self-care. It reminds you that beauty doesn't have to be loud to be powerful. And sometimes, all it takes is one vivid bloom to remind you there's still something bright waiting in the middle of it all. It's a little wild, a little untamed, but that's exactly what makes Nasturtium feel so alive. The leaves spread out like lily pads, and then almost out of nowhere, those vibrant orange and yellow blooms show up like tiny fireworks. You catch yourself watching them on slow afternoons, the way they reach toward the light like they're chasing something hopeful. It's the kind of plant that feels playful, almost like it's in on a secret you haven't figured out yet. You water it, tend to it, and it rewards you with color and energy, like it's saying thanks in its own way. It's even edible, which is kind of amazing bright petals you can toss into a salad, reminding you that nature's not just beautiful, it's generous. The whole vibe is carefree, like it's telling you to loosen up and stop taking everything so seriously. It doesn't mind a little chaos, and maybe that's the lesson it thrives in it. Just having it around reminds you that a little mess can still bloom into something beautiful. And there you have it, 13 houseplants that don't just look good, but might actually help you feel better too. Whether it's peace, focus, or just a little joy, these plants bring something real to the table. If you found one that speaks to you, give it a home. You might be surprised what a little green can do for your mind. Thanks for hanging out, and hey, don't forget to breathe.